Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Marvel Select ICEMAN, one of my favorite Marvel characters. I really like ICEMAN, always have. Prefer the AOA version, but hey, this'll do. This is obviously a 7-inch scale figure, so it's not a direct comparison to Marvel Legends, though I probably will mention it at least a few times because it's a reasonable thing to compare it against in some ways. You guys know I don't really collect this scale, though they're really tempting me with these. All my Marvel Selects that I'm reviewing currently are review samples sent by them. I don't even have to review them. They sent them and said, do whatever you want. If you want to review them, cool. If not, we just want to show you the product. So I can say whatever the heck I want. It's a piece of garbage, don't buy it. Or it's the best thing ever, go ahead and buy it, that kind of thing. You know how I work. So let's go ahead and get this guy off the stand and take a closer look. Okay, before we look at the figure, I will show you my package. Again, it's a very, very big package. The Marvel Select things are huge. The figures are bigger than normal, and they come with a bunch of stuff, so that's, normal as in 1/12 scale. So it's understandable that they're big, but their packages are excessively large. Very thick, again, lots of stuff in there, but still, lots of plastic, lots of cardboard. If you're into collecting on the card, these are kind of cool packages, though I have never, I don't think, seen one that's in great condition. They get beat up pretty easily because they're so big, but still, cool packaging. One of their better ones, I think. And in fact, the figure doesn't even look bad on the back, and sometimes that's not the case. So if you collect on the card, it might not be a bad choice for you. All right, let's go ahead and move my camera. There we go. That'll probably work. Yep, that'll do. So, we'll get a height measurement in before I forget, and then we'll do a question of the day. 18.5 centimeters. That's going to be about 7¼ inches. How's that going to stack up here? Can we fudge this? No, not really. No, he's definitely too big for Marvel Legends. How is he compared to McFarlane Batman? Still too big. McFarlane's scale is all over the place, so we're not going to worry about that. Let's see how he stacks up against Captain America. Probably still a little big, honestly. I don't know how tall Iceman's supposed to be officially, but I'm thinking he should be a little shorter compared to Cap. So scaling might not be perfect, but I don't think if they're not right next to each other that you'll notice too much. All right, question of the day. Who is your favorite X-Men character? Villain or bad guy, that's fine, doesn't matter. For me, I'm gonna have to go with Gambit, I think. As far as good guys, Gambit, then Iceman, then Wolverine. Maybe Wolverine, then Iceman. Hard to say. As far as villains go, I'm all about Omega Red and Sabretooth and Mr. Sinister. I like those three in any particular order, doesn't really matter. Let me know what you guys like. Okay, so this guy. Couple things right off the bat. First of all, I like that they went with the clear plastic. It's a good look. I like that they went with the idea of shading from blue to white. Good idea. However, the white, or should I say more clear plastic, it always ends up being yellow to some degree, and it doesn't look too bad with the gray background. He's pretty yellow. Like, it's not terrible, but it's not great. So I think I would have preferred they just stick with the blue and add the paint on there, because there is paint, and we'll talk about that. I like the idea. I don't think it's going to ever work that well, because it almost always looks yellow and will eventually, even if you keep them in storage. So that's a bit of an issue, but I like the concept. And it's actually blue paint on top of the clear plastic. As far as I can tell, you can see it in some spots. You can kind of see it poking through. But the blue paint is doing a good job of keeping that yellowing away. So it looks all right. You know, it's not bad, but these parts do look quite yellow. So kind of a problem there. Don't love that. Might not stand out on a shelf. It depends how your display is. So be aware. Depending on what you have behind the figure, it might look different, might not. Hard to say. All right, so that's pretty cool. I think the sculpt is overall really nice. It's pretty solid anatomy. I like it. I think his lower torso is a little bit long because his arms, he looks too stretched out, but I really think it's just this area right here is too long. That sounds funny, you know what I mean? It's just a little bit long relative to the arms and the rest of the body, especially given where his abs are. Too much groin. Not something I've heard too much in my life, but it is the case with this figure. So be aware, it's not a perfect sculpt, but it does look solid. Looks all right. Belt's removable, we'll get to that. So yeah, you saw the clear plastic. Sculpt is decent. I'll show you the face. This is the one with the hair. He does have an alternate face. I'll show you that when we get to the accessories. Decent sculpt. The sculpting is fairly organic, but there's a little bit of an edge to it to make him look like ice. And I think that's good. Kind of hard to show you. But yeah, I think it looks good. All right, cool features about this guy, which are kind of good and kind of bad. He does have paint in his hair to make his hair look frosted. I like that. The eyes are painted and the lips are painted. That looks pretty good. A little bit of speckling going on the hands and wrists. There you go. And then also on the feet. So it looks all right. I would have liked to see a whole lot more of this. This frosty dry brushing on top would have looked really good. It would have helped to sell the sculpt, I think. The belt has a little bit of white going on. It's not the best looking thing, but it's okay. So yeah, aesthetically speaking, it's pretty solid. Yeah, it's not perfect. The yellow is really throwing it off, honestly. So I think that would have been far better to just do a blue. Don't put paint on it. Like, don't make the blue paint. Make the plastic slightly blue. Use a little bit of this white frosty paint and you would have been set. This is not as good as it could be. Still looks better than anything Hasbro has put out, unfortunately. And I really am upset about that because I love Iceman. I'm going to give it a 7, though. It still looks decent. And I think you can probably hide the yellow to some degree. Arguably should be a 6 because of the yellowing. Depends on how yours looks in your display and actually your actual product. So there's that. All right, now as far as accessories go, the first thing I want to talk about is you have 2 different heads and belts. This is actually not the way he came in the package. He came with this set on him, which I will do. And, oh, I'll mention this. You don't need to leave a belt on him. So if you wanted to, you could take it off and it doesn't look horrible. Though he probably should have his belt on. So let's put his belt back on. Alright, they're a little tricky to tab back in. Especially if you put them down at the waist where you want to. They really want you to have the belt up pretty high. That is the wrong way, I think. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I would really prefer to be able to sink the belt down just a little bit. But it's fairly hard plastic. I guess it's not too bad on this one. The other one sits a little high. Yeah, that's alright. So you get that belt and you get the bald head, which is the classic look that I actually grew up with. So I don't know, I'm a little torn between the bald head or the hair or the AOA look. But anyway, so as far as accessories go, you do get the alternate head and alternate belt. That's pretty cool. I think the belt could have used a black wash. Alright, for other accessories, you have 3 extra hands. One has like a little ice spread effect, which looks pretty cool. Then you have 2 more kind of just like ice blasts, and those are nice. Again, too yellow. The clear parts look way too yellow. And we have a little bit of inconsistency in the blue. He's fairly dark blue, like a cooler blue. And then the blue on the blast effect's kind of a greener blue, which isn't ideal. But it's still cool that we get those, and the fact that we get accessories at all is so unusual these days. It's kind of awesome. Then we get this, which is extra awesome, though I think it could have looked better. It still looks pretty darn good. Same problems as the rest of the figure, yellowish or greenish rather than clear and blue, but still you get a nice ice sled sort of swirl. Looks kind of like water down here instead of ice, but it's cool enough, no pun intended. I like that. The thing I don't really like, and I haven't really tested it too much, is they give you 2 of their stands, which are not the best looking things in the world, but those are meant to go on here to help him hold up these effect parts. Which, if you have to do that, then just don't use them because it looks terrible. So I'm going to see it by the end of the video, or I will have put it on screen by the end of the video, if he can hold these without the stands, because the stands look like crap. But as far as accessories go, other than the coloration being an issue, having the alternate head and belt and all the effect parts, 8 out of 10. The coloration's a problem, but that's still pretty darn cool. No pun intended again. Alright, let's talk about the articulation. It's probably fairly standard. Let's see. Head moves around all right. It's not the best double ball peg we've seen. Is it even a double ball peg? Yeah, it is. I wasn't paying attention before. All right, so yeah, you could get better range out of that if you tried, but it's decent. It's not bad. It's nice for nuance posing, so it's okay. Guy's probably really hard to see on camera to tell what's going on. Full rotation there. Shoulder goes up to just about horizontal. Get your bicep swivel, that's fine. Single jointed elbow. Just about 90 degrees, a little bit shy. You get more rotation there. Wrists have a swivel and a hinge. Wrists are pretty loose in terms of the swivel. We'll see if that's a problem with the effect parts. Diaphragm joint on this guy. Leans back really far, but it gets gappy pretty quick, so you're only going to want to go about that far. It's a little more limited than it looks like, but doesn't lean forward that far either. So it's not the best thing. Going to the side is decent. That's not bad. And then your rotation is all right. You do get a waist twist, which you probably don't really need. But it's there, so I guess that's okay. Just ignore it. That's what I would do. For the hips, going out to the side, it's in the wrong spot. Let me show you. I think it was this guy who's got the world's chunkiest hips, and he can do full-on splits because they put the joints where they're supposed to go. Look at that. Look at that. Full on splits, big fat legs. This guy much thinner, much slimmer. Can't do it. It's just not done right. So that's unfortunate. Only about 45 degrees. Going forward, it kicks out to the side a little bit, but he can kick up to horizontal, so that's okay. Going back, you get just a little bit. Thigh swivel is in there. No problem with that. Single jointed knee, just like the elbow, not quite 90 degrees. You'll get some rotation, but it's not really good for much. And then lastly, we have our ankles that go all the way back, all the way forward, and have a decent ankle rocker, but all of those directions are quite loose. So be aware of that. Articulation's not usually their strong suit. I would say it's not here either. It's not terrible, but for Marvel Select, it's probably a 7. It's maybe only a 6. It'll pose. It's not going to do any dynamic, crazy poses, but it is posable. It's far better than they used to be back in the day, and I think it's probably understandable at this point. But yeah, 6 or 7 for articulation for this guy. It's not great, especially considering this one's so much better, even though he's chonky. Okay, so it's time for a final verdict on this guy. If you're just going to stick him on the shelf and never look at him again, like never handle him again, it's probably a good call for an Iceman figure. In some ways, it's the best looking one that we've gotten. However, the yellowing on the white plastic or the clear plastic is a big detraction. The effect parts are awesome, but they also don't look that great because of the yellowing. So it's like, on paper, it's by far the best Iceman figure ever. Excellent, excellent thing. And for 30 bucks, it's still not bad, but it's just not really hitting the mark where it needs to in execution. So I'm going to give this guy only a final rating of 6. I can't go higher than 6 objectively. Personally, I'd probably knock it up to a 7 just because I like Iceman and it's not awful. But having those coloration issues and limited articulation and loose joints here and there, it's just not quite where it needs to be. So I'm going to stick with 6 objectively. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. But there it is. That's it from me. So thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, I have new videos almost every single day, and I do have thousands of videos already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.